Hey, how are you guys doing out there? So it's Super Bowl Sunday, and I'm out in the shop just messing around and doing some things out here, getting ready to, I gotta sort of tear the bodywork off the car and start working on some little projects with the goal being this year to, again, increase and get a higher standing in the overall point standing. I finished as Rookie of the Year and in sixth place in the overall points for the Northeast Wingless Sprint Cars out at New Egypt Speedway for 2019. So that was pretty fantastic, but I'm just doing little stuff. I have a bunch of, like I said, little projects to do. You can see I made a little tail tank, sun deflector, running methanol. The cooler you can keep the fuel, the better performance you get out of it. So a black car, in the heat is definitely not necessarily a good thing. I don't know what it'll help me, but it saved me a little bit. I mean, I think I made that thing. I ordered some stuff off foil bubble insulation off of Amazon for like $14 or whatever, and just used some duct tape, so it's a little hokey, but honestly it's just an experiment, and we're gonna get through that. But I have the tack to get installed, so that's probably the biggest project because I have to do put a little cut in the firewall and get that mounted all up. But this was supplied by Tracy and Roy Curtis, so I appreciate that, guys. Again, I did a little video on that when that came. So cool group. I have a new left hub and carrier that Taylor from TJ Forge sent up for me because I have the little bit of a wobble in that front brake up there, and then one thing that Taylor hooked me up with, this awesome resource, Troy Renfro. I'm not really sure where Troy is, but I've talked to him a few times, and he gave me some tips on some brakes or whatever. So I actually picked up I've had this for a little bit, actually, probably August, and just was running my old setup, and I didn't really need to change this over, but I'm going to change this over. So I got a full floating left front and a 2-piston front caliper. So there's a cool rear brake setup that I'd like to get, a radial mount, but I don't really need it quite yet. A lot of sort of what I'm doing for prepping for the season is getting some spares and things like that so I can get through the year, and it's not a struggle from week to week. But we're basically 2 months out, almost to today. April 4th is the first scheduled race event. We have 2 open practices the weekends before that at New Egypt, and I have a new floor pan. It's a little bit thicker than the one that's in the car. It's gonna fit a little bit better. I get some with the way the pan is configured right now, I get a lot of debris in the foot well, or whatever you want to call it, on the floor pan of the car through the night, with just stuff kicking up off the track and getting in there. So I have a new Maxim floor pan to go on, and that means I have to reroute some or sort of replumb some of the fuel lines that are going through there. So I got a couple new fittings for that. Number 6 fuel line. Basically, the other one's already run through the motor plate. The big one, Bittner Automotive, Mark did that for me early in the season when I switched out and got the inline fuel filter with the shutoff. So, which I have to put that back in the car. The car is really just prepped for the show right now. So I have the bladder is out of the car, sitting up here on a shelf, and I'll give you a little bit of a shop tour here in a second so you guys can see I've been really working over the past probably month here, getting sort of organized and some little workspaces. So I'm ready to go, but I got a new fuel plate gasket, Vitron, which is supposed to be, or Viton, I don't know what it is, I forget, but from Kreitz Oval Parts, along with a couple other spares, spare bumper, front and rear bumper, and things like that. So I'm ready for that. And I got some new bolts for the seat, some titanium bolts, just again, little shiny stuff, but they're, the whole pack of bolts I think weighs 6 bolts, weigh less than 2 of the other bolts, which again, it's not really necessary, but just a cool pull factor, and you can't go wrong with titanium and carbon fiber, right? But and then I have the torque tube harness or retention safety strap that I need to get put in, and that should be pretty straightforward. I just have to, like I said, get access to the lower panel and get those in. But a lot of just said, like, a lot of little things. I have oil to get. I'm working with Bittner Automotive to figure out what I'm going to run. It's definitely going to be driven oil. Joe Gibbs, I think, Racing driven. I think I was using something like XP9 last year for the crate engine, which was fantastic stuff there. And I am going to run a little bit of a different oil program this year with changing and filters and different things like that. I always run the Wix filters. They did a great job last year. The Daytona 1 fluids are going to get replaced in the car. Power steering, trans fluid was actually just replaced. I only ran one race on it, so that'll be in there. But the gear fluid, the XL1 engine treatment, I'm still using in the oil, and all the other, you know, sort of go fast defrictionator stuff that Daytona 1 put together. So talked about the seat bolts, new fluids. I have new spark plugs from Crate Insider, and a couple other little things like that. I have this other experimental sort of cool air type box that not ram air or anything like that, but just cool air to try to separate the engine bay air from the cooler outside air, just to get, again, a little bit more power. So anything that you can do, just the little things, from, you know, taking friction out of the system, whether it's in oil additives, just general lubrication and things like that, aligning, you know, things so you get, whether it's the torque tube or the drive shaft or whatever you can do to sort of get even the brakes, you know, if you can get those from sort of binding or slowing you down or creating a little bit of friction there, just as you're going around the track. Like all those little things add up. Just getting a little bit cooler charge into the carburetor, and maybe some fuel that's cooler than what it would be if the tail tank was out there just beating in the sun, which, again, I run an open trailer, so from the half hour from my house to the track, and then the couple hours that it's sitting there in the pits, which usually I depending on when we're getting to the track, is either, you know, like 3:30 or 4:30, and then we race 2 to 3 hours after that, depending on what the time of year is and what the schedule is. So just a lot of time there for the methanol to heat up. So anyway, that's what I'm getting ready to start. Like I said, I've just really been focused on trying to get the garage sort of cleaned and organized and things like that, and there's a lot more space in here, which it probably doesn't look like, but anyway, so I have this I have a couple little projects going on right now. I've been working on sort of mobilizing everything. I have this sandblaster that's going to take me a good month or two to get together. I'm getting some components from Tacoma Company out in Idaho, I believe, Hope, Idaho, to upgrade this sandblaster and get something working. I'm always looking to clean things up, restore things, sort of take things back to new and start over. And with the race car, there's a lot of powder coated stuff and things like that. So that'll come in handy. I'm always looking for something, even if it's just cleaning up lawnmower blades or whatever. And then I have a shop press over here. I put wheels on. And then I have this, I moved some stuff around again just to make a little thing, but I have a little cutting station, and I have like my welder, and then another little workspace with this awesome Beaumont bench-mounted belt grinder, which is probably one of the best investments that I've ever made. It's definitely a fantastic thing. I use it for all kinds of fabrication stuff, whether it's for the race car or other things that I'm doing, and welding prep and things like that. But the Fronius welder has been awesome. I just recently, sort of got that in the fall, And I've been doing a lot of MIG welding and things like that, but it's a combination welder, so you can MIG and TIG with it. So this TIG I'm still sort of figuring out, but it is an awesome machine overall, and the MIG is like absolutely fantastic. The TIG, like I said, it's probably fantastic, but I'm still messing around with that to get that working. So anyway, check you guys out. Again, look for you in two more months. Still looking to get a camera set up in the car. The old GoPro basically just took a beating last year, so I'm looking to get a little bit different setup. Probably the Garmin Verb 360 camera, so that'll be pretty fun and exciting. And then I have to work on a setup to do video editing and things like that. So I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you please like and share the page. I'm 13 currently page likes away from 500 milestones, so that's pretty incredible. But hopefully we'll reach that here in the next week or two. But working on something with the track to bring some excitement there with bringing new fans out to the track. So I'm still finalizing some of that stuff, but hopefully talk to you guys about that very, very soon. And if you want to get involved in a great racing program, the Larry's Hot Rods and Harleys Northeast Wingless Sprint Car class is fantastic. So look at it. I just want to say thanks to all my sponsors, Taylor down at TJ Forge, Kate at Crate Insider, Winning Motorsports Marketing, the Smart Racers Group, Buck down at Daytona 1. I know I'm forgetting some at Tracy and Roy Curtis, Kenny over at Phenomenon Designs. Awesome job on the lettering for the car this year and last year. And just Jen and the Porter family down in North Carolina at CNC EDM. So you guys are awesome. I appreciate everybody's support. And definitely Mark Bittner at Bittner Automotive. I wouldn't be here without him for sure, in the tuning last year and all the help and sort of advice and things that he's helped me out with. So awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.